Hello everyone, it's time for Reading and Creating with Sherri again. Today, the book we're going to read is called The Forest. It's written and illustrated by Claire Nivola. Not sure I'm pronouncing her last name wrong. If anyone knows her, please apologize for me. It's a story about a little mouse. And the mouse in our story is the narrator. That means he's just telling it like he's speaking to you, saying, I did this and I did that. We don't know what his name is, but there he is in his house. The forest. I had always been afraid of the forest, that dark and unknown place at the farthest edge of my little world. At night, I often dreamed of it and woke chilled with fear. The fear was there in the day, too, hidden inside me, no matter what I did or where I went. One night, the fear pressed so heavily on me that I could bear it no longer. There's his town. There's the forest. And here he is in his house. In the morning, standing in the doorway of my home, I saw the cozy chair by the fire, my warm bed, the objects I loved. There's his room. You see his chair by the fire? That does look like a nice house, doesn't it? I wouldn't mind living there. And here's his town. I turned and closed the door behind me. He left his safe house. I walked through the village that I knew like the back of my hand. I passed the shops and the houses laid out in their familiar order and followed the long curve of the street. And here we see the other houses and the other mice going about their business. Somebody's sweeping. Somebody's playing with their child. On the high road, my heart began to race. I no longer felt like myself, but small and alone in the big world. Can you see him there? He's leaving his town, and he's going on the road. I walked on, past unknown farms and fields, until the paved road ended. Now he's on a dirt road. Uneasy, I looked back at my village, a dot in the distance. Can you see it back there? These are some farmhouses, I believe, but there's his little village, and he's far away. Do you think he's scared? I think he is. Why is he going to the forest if he's so afraid, I wonder? Looming before me, shaking its many heads slowly in the wind, stood the forest. Should I turn back? Should I run back? Heart racing to the safety of my house? What do you think you would do? I think our mouse decided that if he's going to stop being afraid of the forest, he needs to go and check it out. No, I had come too far. But would I lose myself? Would I be devoured by some wild creature? Would I die of fear? Do you think he's being silly? He's probably not going to die of fear, is he? But you know, when you're afraid of something, it's hard to just make that fear go away because you know you shouldn't be afraid. Let's see what happens. I stepped inside the forest between two pillar trees that stood like a gateway. Now remember, he's a mouse, but even so, these are pretty big trees. They go tall, 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 tall. If the forest is thick enough, you don't get too many branches on the lower parts. And the trees, all the leaves are near the top. My heart was pounding. A sharp bird call from behind me made me jump. Something cracked nearby, and a dark shadow moved swiftly toward me, coming closer and closer. Leaping for cover, I tripped and fell headlong to the ground. Lie still, I thought. If you cry or move, you will be found. Could my thundering heart be heard outside my head? Wow, he's surely afraid, isn't he? Well, that shadow, I think I see what's making the shadow. It's a crow. I don't think he's going to hurt our mouse, is he? And as far as the cracking in the woods, that could have been a lot of things. Could have been a branch falling. Could have been a squirrel. Squirrels are very noisy. When I opened my eyes, my nose was deep in the moss. Well, at least he didn't get hurt. Can you see him there? The moss was like a forest of tiny trees, as soft as feathers. The sunlight was raining down through the leaves and warming my back. A sweet breeze stirred my fur. I was alive. How long had I been here? A butterfly opened and shut its wings nearby, like a guardian angel. Look at that. Have you ever laid down in the moss? If you ever get a chance to do that, check it out, because if you look closely, it really is fun to look at all that moss up close. What's he going to do next? He listened. I listened. All around me, a million leaves whispered and rustled gently. I rolled over and for the first time looked up. High above, I saw the sky. The sky was bigger than the forest, bigger even than my fear had been, bigger than everything. That's a good thing to do. Roll over on your back and look up if you're afraid. I lay there, a speck in this enormous beauty, until the light began to fade. He must have laid there a long time. Does he look afraid now? I don't think he's afraid at all. He said it's beautiful. And look here, you guys. He took his shoes off. If he was still scared, he would not take his shoes off. Because if you're afraid, you're going to keep your shoes on in case you have to get up and run suddenly. I think he's feeling pretty good. I think he feels safe. And there he is. Look how big the forest is. It goes on and on beyond this. He's near a creek. I bet he listens to that. In our picture here, he's putting his shoes back on. Remember that he said the light was beginning to fade. Day is ending. In this picture you can see the sun setting at the top here. Then, with the sweet murmuring world of the forest filling me, I walked the long way home. And there he goes, walking back home. I think he's going to get home before dark, don't you? What a perfect day he had. Do you think tonight when he goes to bed he's going to be afraid of the forest anymore? I don't think so. I think this is a wonderful book. Okay, put that aside, and let's show you what we're going to create today. Yesterday I went out. I didn't go to the forest exactly. I went into the park that's across from my house, and I walked around in my yard a little bit, and I gathered up a whole lot of things from nature. And let me show you just the tray here of what kinds of things I picked up. Because today we're going to make a collage. And if you don't know what a collage is, it's just a picture that's made up of a bunch of objects or pictures pasted together to make a bigger picture. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'll show you how I'm going to make my collage. Now, if we were at the library and we were doing this as a craft, I would give each of you a piece of white cardstock. And that cardstock is just like heavy paper. But since we're not there, and maybe you don't have cardstock at your house, I thought I would show you what to use as a substitute, which is I just cut apart a cereal box. And then I turn it over. I just cut the back off, or the front, I guess. I turn it over, and there is where I'm going to make my collage, right here. Okay? You just need that and your objects, and I'm just going to use white glue. I'll use a lot of it. That's why to do a collage you probably want to use stiff paper, because you're going to use a lot of glue. Okay, let me show you how I'm going to do mine. First of all, I'm going to start with some leaves. This is a leaf off a tree in my yard. It's a maple leaf, and it's red. It's a special kind of maple. And I'm just going to drizzle some glue on. We won't worry about covering it too much, just so the things stay down. You can be fussier when you make yours if you want. And then just gently pat it so that it sticks down. Should we put another red maple leaf on? This is actually from a Crimson King maple. But the leaves are red. They're very pretty. There's another one. Kind of put that one upside down. And while we're talking about maple leaves, I think I have another maple leaf here somewhere. Here it is. It's a tiny one. This is from a Norway maple tree. These red leaves are actually from a Norway maple too, but it's just a special Norway maple. As you can see, the leaves are almost identical in shape, and they're about the same size too on the tree. It varies, but these are green. I also picked a bunch of oak leaves. Now look, I'm just kind of putting them randomly around. You can do whatever you like with your picture, with your collage. And let's put another oak leaf back here in the corner. If I was picking leaves off the oak tree, what do you suppose I might have found on the ground underneath the oak tree? If you said acorns, you'd be right. Here's an acorn. Put a big dot right there and stick our little acorn there. And I got an acorn cap. Let's put that over here. I better get some more glue on this one. Now, like I said, your picture is going to change as things dry. All right? Don't worry about that. I think I'm going to try to keep this picture around. Let's see what it looks like next week. I also picked some seeds off the maple trees. Some people call these seeds whirligigs. Maple trees make lots of them every year. That's why sometimes if you don't clean them up, you're going to find maple trees growing just about anywhere that doesn't get mowed off. Let's stick one more leaf here. This is from an ivy plant that I have. It's in my front yard. It's a vine, lots of ivy, and here's something off another vine that's at my house. I like this one because it's green and white. Makes it kind of pretty. I'm being pretty careful with getting into the glue because I don't want to have too much glue on my fingers or I won't be able to drop things down on the paper, on the cardboard. I think our picture needs some color, don't you? Well, here's what happens when you let kale go to seed. When we were done eating the kale last year, which took a long time, you can eat it a long time, we just didn't get around to pulling the plants out. And then it went to seed, and we got these really pretty yellow flowers. I'm going to put this right here. It's going to cover up some of the leaf, but that's okay. Let's put another one over here on the side. There, it'll work out. And some more flowers. This is a lily of the valley sprig. Now these were blooming earlier. They're about done blooming now, but depending on where they are at your house. I hope you have some. Here's what I love about this flower. If you do find some, they look like little bells. Some people call them coral bells. They smell so good. You just can't hardly believe it. Let's put some there. What I like about nature collages is that they change. Depending on when you pick your things, it's going to be a different picture each time. So this could be our May nature collage, because things are not going to look just exactly the same in a few weeks or a few months. Different flowers will be blooming. The leaves will be bigger maybe. You know, in the fall, the leaves are going to be colored, some of them. And here's an example. This is a strawberry blossom. For my picture, I decided to sacrifice one strawberry, because we're not going to get a strawberry now here, I don't think. And put this in our picture too. I don't have strawberries yet, but I do have a lot of flowers. I pulled some fern leaves off. I don't know that they're going to fare out too well in the picture, but we'll see. The ferns at my house and a lot of places, including in the forest, are really just beginning to come up and get pretty. They're nice when they're coming up. If you notice something in the forest that looks like something that's curled up like a worm almost, but it's green and coming out of the ground, that could be a fern. Now, I like to put some sticks in my pictures. These are just ones that fell off the ground. It's tricky with the sticks because obviously you can't pin it down. So when you place it down, just see where it touches the paper naturally, and that's where you want to stick your glue. So let's do it right here. I told you it would take a lot of glue. See what I mean? That's why it's good to have a piece of heavy paper to put it all on. I might have a few things here. Let's see. Oh, some clover. Most yards have clover. Lots and lots of clover. If you're lucky, they say, you'll find one with 4 leaves. But I usually just have the 3-leaf kind. Another thing that I got, oh, here's another flower. Don't forget the weeds. Weeds have some of the prettiest flowers, you know. Oh, that doesn't mean that we can't appreciate how pretty they are. And what I was going to say was, I got a pine cone too. And I think I'm going to put the pine cone right down here where I'm calling this the bottom of my picture. I don't know that there's really a bottom, but there. Might need a little bit more glue for that. Sometimes a collage is going to be something that'll be nice and pretty for a long time. And sometimes it'll just be pretty for a day or two. We'll see. I'm going to put this somewhere safe, and by safe I mean somewhere where my dog won't get it, because she will destroy it. And we'll see what it looks like next week. See if you can guess what some of the things might do till next week. Okay. I hope you get a chance at your house to, especially if you have a chance to go into the forest and actually pick things up there, that would be great. But if not, I think most of you can get some things just right around your house. Or maybe grandma's house. Maybe you have someone that has a garden or a farm. But it's not hard. There are things growing everywhere, even out of the sidewalk cracks sometimes. Okay? I had fun with you today. I hope you get a chance to make a nature collage. And I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.